Top 13 Agentic AI Trends to Watch in 2026. We've got CLI agents taking over development, MCP coming back from the dead, and a framework from Andre Kriparthy that explains why your AI can refactor a 100,000-line codebase but still tell you to walk to a car wash. I'm Banana.
And I'm Orange. And Banana, I have to say, this article from Firecrawl by Hiba Fatima is basically a state of the union for the agentic AI space. 13 trends, all grounded in real data from Anthropic, EY, IBM, Gartner. This isn't speculation.
Not speculation at all. And trend number 1 is CLI agents taking over development. This is the shift from AI-enhanced IDEs to command-line agents that run autonomously for hours. At TELUS, teams using Claude Code shipped engineering code 30% faster, saving over 500,000 hours. At Rakuten, Claude Code implemented a complex activation vector extraction method in VLLM, 12.5 million lines of code, in 7 hours with 99.9% numerical accuracy.
So the paradigm is delegation over suggestion. You don't pair program with the AI, you delegate whole tasks to it.
Exactly. And the article nails why terminals work better for autonomous agents. Context is treated as a scarce resource. You grep, you get filtered results, you load only what you need. Feedback is atomic, exit code 0 or non-zero. Compare that to IDE agents that load schemas for every available tool and suffer from context pollution. 200 tokens per CLI command versus 32 to 82,000 for the equivalent MCP operation. The token math is brutal.
MCP, the Model Context Protocol. And that brings us to trend 2, which is fascinating. Early 2026, MCP was a punchline. Developers hated the token overhead, the setup pain. But now,
Firecrawl's own MCP usage grew 35% in the last month alone. Google Trends shows a clear resurgence. The original criticism wasn't wrong, it was incomplete. MCP is terrible for token-efficient production pipelines, but it's unbeatable for OAuth flows, multi-tenant products, and enterprise governance. Audit trails, permission boundaries, compliance logging, these are first-class concepts in MCP. The debate was never about the protocol being bad, it was about context. CLI for production, MCP for anything involving off or regulated industries.
Speaking of context, trend 7 is one I think our audience needs to hear. Context engineering is replacing prompt engineering. Models like Claude Opus 4.6 have million token context windows, but research from Databricks shows model correctness drops around 32,000 tokens. The lost in the middle phenomenon is real. Information buried mid-context gets ignored.
Context rot in 4 flavors. Poisoning, a hallucination enters context and gets repeatedly referenced. Distraction, context grows so large the model over-focuses on history. Confusion, irrelevant content influences responses. Clash, different parts of context directly contradict each other. The solution isn't bigger windows, it's better curation. Minimal, high-signal tokens. Place critical information at the beginning or end, never the middle. Use just-in-time retrieval instead of preloading everything. And then there's trend 10, recursive language models. RLMs solve context limits by treating long prompts as external environments that models can recursively examine. MIT built RLM Qwen 3.8b, which outperforms the base Qwen 3.8b by 28% on long context tasks and approaches vanilla GPT-5 quality on 3 tasks, despite being 50 times smaller.
50 times smaller. That's the breakthrough. Not handling longer inputs, but making models better at using what they have. RLMs actively navigate to relevant information, process it in focused chunks, synthesize findings. More like how humans work through complex documents. This enables agents that process entire code bases, reason over legal contracts, decompose multi-stage problems recursively.
And trend 9, small language models proving enterprise-ready. Microsoft's Phi 4 at 14 billion parameters achieves 88% on MMLU, surpassing GPT 3.5 at 175 billion parameters, while consuming 92% less energy per inference.
The economics are wild. SLMs require 10 times less compute. IBM Granite models achieve over 90% cost savings. Gartner predicts that by 2027, organizations will use small, task-specific models 3 times more than general-purpose LLMs. The catch, and this is important, SLMs aren't universal replacements. They excel at focused tasks, but struggle with broad knowledge. The skill is knowing when a small model is sufficient versus when you need frontier capabilities.
And that brings us to trend 13, which might be the most important framing in the whole article. Andrej Karpathy's verifiability principle. AI automates fastest in domains where output can be verified. Code and math got into the training distribution because they're economically valuable and easy to verify. That's why Claude can refactor a 100,000-line codebase, but also tells you to walk to a car wash.
These are what Karpathy calls jagged entities, models with spectacularly uneven capabilities. For founders, the opportunity isn't in saturated verifiable domains. It's in finding high-value verifiable domains that labs haven't prioritized yet. For engineers, if you're hitting a wall, ask whether you're in the circuits. If not, fine-tuning on domain-specific data is the path, not more prompt engineering. For teams deploying agents, jaggedness is exactly why human oversight still matters for high-stakes decisions. Agents aren't universally capable. They're exceptional in some areas and surprisingly brittle in others.
So the big picture: CLI agents, small models, context engineering, multi-agent coordination. The teams that figure out agent orchestration, embrace standardized protocols, and give their agents access to live data are shipping faster and building capabilities that weren't feasible 6 months ago.
That's it for today's Beyond Prompting. I'm Banana.
And I'm Orange. If this was useful, hit subscribe. We're here every day.
Tomorrow, we're diving into AI tools and platforms, the frameworks and protocols actually shipping in production right now.
See you then.